The Granny Incident. On a farm in rural Russia, 2012, a Russian grandma heard loud crying and whimpers outside of her home. Confused, she quickly ran outside to see what was going on. There, she was met with the grisly scene of a Eurasian wolf covered in blood while eating one of the grandma's baby cows. These wolves aren't like normal ones due to the Bergmann's rule. This rule states that animals in colder regions evolve larger body sizes to stay warm. A male Eurasian wolf weighs anywhere from 150 to 170 pounds. With that being said, any normal person would probably just lock themselves in their house and call police officers or something. But the grandma was unfazed. Her people have survived Soviet winters, food shortages, and probably World War II. So for her, a wolf was just another Tuesday. While the wild animal was trying to tear the calf apart, the grandma began roaring at it in an attempt to scare it off. But unbeknownst to her, the wolf had rabies and was manic. So instead of running away, the beast lunged at the grandma, going straight for her throat. However, she immediately punched the animal in the snout, causing it to bite onto her left hand instead. She tried to open up the wolf's mouth so that she could shove her hand down its throat. That probably sounds like a random thing to do in this situation, but hunters and herders sometimes use this tactic because apparently larger animals have really bad gag reflexes. Unfortunately for her, however, the wolf's jaws were locked tight and she wouldn't be able to get them open because it began thrashing her hand around. So instead, she switched gears to her backup plan, punching. She kept on punching and punching and punching the wolf until it decided to go tear away at her legs. To be fair, she's 56 years old and fighting a wolf. So, when the wolf began dragging her by the legs, that's when she realized she needed a weapon. And luckily for her, her trusty axe was nearby. While the wolf was busy munching on her feet, the grandma raised her axe high above her shoulders and split the wolf's head in two. Then she did it again. Then she did it one more time for good measure. She was taken to the hospital where remarkably her injuries weren't too severe. If you're a wolf and watching this video, then my advice to you is don't try to eat Russian grandmas. They're not prey. They're more like elder ring bosses. Also, to add to that, don't try to eat these next types of people either. The Dad Incident. In 2021, a father in Karnataka, India, was riding back home on his motorcycle in a forest. As is common in certain regions of India and other countries, the father was riding with his wife on the back of his bike while she carried there. It was nearing nighttime and after the family finished their work for the day, they were headed back to their village to relax. Their fatigued eyes squinted hard through the rural road they were on together. They tiredly blinked at it again and again until they noticed the motorcycle got heavier. The man's wife looked down at the she was carrying and in the blink of an eye, she realized that there was now a full-grown leopard biting down on her kid's leg. Yell! A 160 pounds wild cat was latched onto the and trying to run off into the forest with it, all while on a motorcycle. The mother screamed and pulled back her from the grip of the leopard's teeth, provoking the beast in the process. It quickly pounced and swiped at her in retaliation, prompting the man to increase the speed on his bike so that they could outpace the cat. But unfortunately, his motorcycle wasn't fast enough to escape the animal because it quickly bit onto the leg of his again. Out of pure instinct, while still riding the motorcycle, the father began elbowing the leopard to get it off their child. The cat swiped up at him, causing him to crash the vehicle. However, before the leopard could run away with the child, the father grabbed the animal by its throat. Yeah. And while it quickly let go of his kid, the two of them fell into a wrestling match. Leopards are exceptionally lethal predators with the ability to vertically jump 10 feet into the air and casually drag 200 pounds up into trees with them. There are even videos of leopards plummeting from 300 feet, shaking it off and continuing to hunt their prey. And here, this 30-some-year-old man was wrestling one with his hands gripped tightly around its throat. The leopard thrashed him around. Its claws tore into his arms, chest, and split his face. But still, he didn't let go because he knew if he did, it would slaughter his family. So, he did something absolutely insane. Mid-wrestle match, he positioned the leopard into a chokehold with both of his arms. These cats have necks that are thick with muscle designed to support their ability to carry heavy prey up trees. So, honestly, for a human, trying to strangle this wild cat is pretty much like trying to choke out a tree trunk. Neighbors in nearby villages finally heard the commotion from the attack and quickly ran in the direction of the screaming family. But when they arrived, it seemed that they were already late to the party because what they witnessed had everybody in pure disbelief. They saw a man sitting on the floor covered in blood, and in front of him laid a motionless leopard. Everybody was taken to the hospital for their injuries, and the only casualty of the event was the leopard. The Florida Man Incident. Everything was normal for a Floridian family on a sunny beach day on July 6, 2001, Pensacola. A 30-year-old uncle laid back peacefully on his beach towel, tanning in the sun while everyone had fun around him. He sat up to look around and he saw volleyballs being thrown, sandcastles being built, and his 8-year-old nephew getting torn apart by a bull shark in the water. Then he laid back down and relaxed because life was good. Yeah. No. Upon realizing what he just saw, the man immediately leapt up from his beach towel and began sprinting full speed towards the water. People began screaming shark and started running away from the waters. But the uncle was still sprinting towards the bull shark that was actively swimming away with his nephew in its mouth. Bull sharks are one of the, if not the most aggressive shark species on the planet. They weigh anywhere from 200 to 700 pounds. They often hunt in shallow waters and are believed to have the most testosterone of any animal on the entire planet. So, what do you think this Florida man did when he finally spotted the bull shark in the water? Well, he leapt on top of it. Yeah. After taking a good look at the 7-foot 400 pounds beast, he jumped on it inside of the water and began punching it in the face to rescue his nephew. Fortunately for both of them, the shark actually let go of the boy. However, it bit off his arm and started swimming off with it in its mouth. Now, what do you suppose the Florida man did at this point? He jumped back into action and began wrestling the bull shark underwater for his son's arm. The shark and the man fell into a tug-of-war match where the shark tried swimming off into deeper waters and the uncle tried desperately to pull it back onto shore. The man tugged, twisted, and pulled. The shark was trying to get away, but he didn't let go. I don't know how, but the psychopath literally pulled the shark back onto the beach, then pried its jaws open with his bare hands and ripped his nephew's severed arm out of its mouth. The arm was still intact. A local fisherman on a boat nearby noticed the commotion happening on the beach. He pulled out his rifle and took aim. And in one click, the shark's mad frenzy ended. Vance Floenzia wrestled a bull shark and was able to give paramedics his nephew's arm to be reattached in surgery. I can't say I expected less from the Florida man, but honestly, he wins Uncle of the Year. The reverse incident. In 2024, a 35-year-old railway worker in India was just trying to get some sleep after a long shift. It was the middle of the night, and he was passed out on his bed when he felt something crawling up his leg. He woke up and saw a snake, but not just any snake, an extraordinarily venomous one that was assumed to be a crate or a cobra, some of the deadliest reptiles on the planet. He stared at the snake. It stared back. He continued staring, and so did the snake. And then it bit him. Now, most people would have panicked, called for help, or maybe tried driving toward a nearby hospital. But this guy just had to be different. Something inside him snapped, and before the snake could slither away, he grabbed the animal with his bare hands, and he bit it. What?